Hello everybody, and welcome back to episode 2 of Q Talks. Today we'll be discussing marriage and a couple thoughts that I have on that. I want to talk specifically about, I want to critique the conservatives addressing this issue, and something that I think that they can do better in response to this. So we all know that the left benefits politically from people being single, and the right benefits politically from people being married. And so it is not surprising that the left advocates largely for people to remain single, and the right advocates largely for people to get married. Let me turn my AC off so y'all can hear me. So, and then I agree with the conservatives that largely speaking, mostly speaking, we should advocate for marriage. I've been married for 2.5 years. I met my wife, and then 6 months later we were married. It was one of the best decisions I ever made. I don't regret it at all. And I would highly recommend, if you're not married, to get married. However, there's something that conservatives typically say whenever they talk about getting married, and it's that if you're single, well, here's one of them. If you're single, you're probably selfish. That's the only reason why. I've heard some people say this. Candace Owens, Michael Knowles, they'll say the only reason why somebody, oh, by the way, I'm about to go work out. That's why I'm in a tank top today. The only reason why somebody would remain single is for selfish reasons. And I think that is just one of the dumbest things somebody can say, because marriage is not it's not something that somebody pushes a button and then they just get married to someone overnight. That's not how this works. Marriage is, you gotta first of all find somebody of the opposite sex that you really like and shares your values. That right there is already hard to do. And then you have to actually be infatuated and sexually attracted to this person. And then when all of that happens, guess what? They got to feel the same way about you. They got to be attracted to you and share your values. And that is very difficult to do. And it leads to a situation where many people are single and they don't want to be single. They're single and they want to be married. If they could push a button and get married, they would, but they can't, because they just can't find anybody. All right, I'm pulling into the gym. I'll sit right here in my car for a few minutes. Not reverse. Reverse back up. That'd be funny. That'd probably give me some views. So anyway, now I can get close and so and I know this because I was one of those people. I was a person who, for a couple of years actually, was single and didn't want to be. I wanted to be married. I wanted to find somebody, and I couldn't. And that actually led to a lot of self-image problems. I thought that I was ugly. I thought that I was, unappealing to other people. I thought that nobody wanted me. I thought that I was never going to find somebody. And one of the pieces of advice that I got from conservatives was from people advising me in the situation, Christians, was that I should be content being single, and that God would eventually, it was up to him whether to lead somebody into my life or not. And if he didn't, then I should just remain content in that. And if he did, well, there you go. You got your wish. You're married now. I took some pre-workout earlier, and now I'm getting those beta-alanine tingles. So if you see me like scratching my face, don't worry. I'm not doing crack or anything. I'm just got tingles from the pre-workout. And I gotta say, I think that that's terrible advice. I would never advise a young person that ever. Obviously, I would advise a young person to be content. But if somebody is if they are single and don't want to be, I would not tell them, stop being like that, stop desiring that, stop desiring to get married. No, the desire to marry is a good, fundamentally good desire. I believe that God made men for women, and if you're single and don't want to be, that's just a natural desire that you have. And even evolutionarily, this is just, we're wired as sexual creatures to want to be with another person. So it's not, it's just science. You want to be with somebody else. A lot of people do. And the issue is simply not being able to find somebody. And so what do you think goes through somebody's head when you advise them to not have those desires? Well, it further causes what I talked about in myself earlier, which is that there's something wrong with me, that I actually have something wrong. So I'm ugly, I'm fat, whatever, and now my desires, now those are wrong too. But again, the truth is that they're not at all. It is a good desire and it is a good thing. But I would advise, if I had a younger brother or somebody like that come to me and he confesses that, he's very lonely, very depressed, and he really wants to find a woman, if a young man comes to me, my advice to him would be something along these lines. It would be, well, look, there's nothing wrong with you. God created you just the way you are, and you're fine. And the desire that you have to be with another person is good. If somebody does not want you, that does not mean that there's anything wrong with you, okay? Beauty is one of those things where it is objective and also subjective. So there are some objectivity to beauty, but also when it comes person to person, it is going to be subjective depending on, for example, I would ask one girl out and they would tell me no because they didn't find me attractive. Well, obviously my wife, the wife of my child, disagrees with that, right? So there is not, that first person was not wrong objectively to not find me attractive. That just wasn't their taste apparently. And it is for my wife, which is good. It's very good for your wives to find you attractive. So just because you haven't found somebody does not mean that you're ugly. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. And the desire that you have to another person, not only is that not a bad thing, that is actually a very good thing, that you desire somebody else. Desiring to, be with somebody, marry somebody, extend your bloodline through your children. Those are all good things. And it's something that you should, if you feel called to, you should pursue that. You should, if you feel called to do that, you have to actually step out and pursue that. And by the way, let me step in and say this. I'm actually saying this from the perspective of somebody who was kind of lonely when he was single, and I totally took my foot off the gas and said, all right, fine, God, if you give me somebody, then do it. And that's exactly what he did. He brought me a woman from out of town who came in, literally, it was almost perfect, and we matched perfectly whenever we were together, whenever we first met, and never looked back from that time. I mean, after the first conversation with my, then acquaintance, after the first conversation I had, I knew immediately this was the person I wanted to marry. And my only regret, I thought of this earlier, my only regret is that I didn't marry my wife sooner. So I married her 6 months after I met her. That's my only regret. And so, darn it, I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? What would I advise young men? Oh, so if anybody is like, okay, take your foot off the gas, let God do his thing, it should be me, because that's exactly what happened. But really, I still don't think that that is the case, because even then I still had to go and pursue her once I found her, which is exactly what I did. Very much so. I very much liked this girl and very much pursued her. And so that's what every single person has to do if you're single, okay, and you're looking for a person. You have to step out and actually make those conscious choices and pursue somebody, okay? So how this relates to the conservative movement, and kind of what I wanted to critique from the beginning, the thesis of this video, is that the behavior is as though the only reason why these people are not married is because there's something wrong with them, or because they're not making a conscious effort to do anything about it. And that's just simply not the case. And I know this from experience, because I was that person who I was working out, I was trying to go on a diet, I was trying to do this, I was, trying to do all these things that would make me more appealing to the opposite sex. And I would ask multiple people out. I went on at least one date, and none of it worked out. I got shot down, and that really lowered my self-confidence, because it made me think again that there was something wrong with me. And then so that would be my advice to somebody is, there's nothing wrong with you. You are not ugly, okay? Because beauty, as I said earlier, is partly objective, that's true. But attractiveness is also subjective. So if somebody comes up and says you're ugly, they're not wrong, they're also not correct, because it's in the eye of the beholder, right? So that's what stay strong, king, and go and pursue your person. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is why marriage is fundamentally why you should pursue that, and then also why it might be good to not pursue that, and why it is definitely not selfish, as conservatives say, if you wish not to pursue that. That's definitely the minority position among young men. Most of them want to get married. A minority don't. For the female crowd, I would say it's probably closer to 50-50 from my experience. Around half of them-ish say they want to stay single for a while until their 30s, and then the other half don't. So there are a couple of reasons why I would encourage somebody to get married. That would be my own personal experience. I got married, and it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, and I would not trade my life for anything. If I could go back, I heard somebody say this once about their wife, and I totally agree. If you were to tell me that when I died, would be reincarnated again as Casey Stafford, I get to relive my life, how would I relive it differently? Well, I would relive it differently in quite a few ways. I mean, there are some things I regret that come to mind. I was talking about that earlier with my family. But if I got to relive my life, if I got to relive it 100 times, 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, every single one of those lives, every last one of them, I would marry the person that I'm married to now. Every last one of them. And not even a tiny part of me thinks otherwise. That is, and it's because my marriage, even though marriage is not always this sunshine and rainbow butterflies like some people say it is, it's a lot of hard work, but the hard work is worth it when you're married to somebody that you love. And so I wish that upon everybody. I wish everybody to find somebody that they love and that constantly gives them joy and purpose in life when they wake up in the morning and they're so tired. Oh my gosh, I just want to go back to sleep, but I got to go to work. If you're single, there's not a whole lot of incentive to get up and go to work. You might say, I'll call in, roll back over, and you know what? If they fire me, all right, whatever, I'll just go work at this other job. But if you're married, there's an incentive to actually be a man, get up and do the right thing and provide for your family. And it's awesome because it gives you this sense of purpose and fulfillment. And so that is something I wish in everybody. Now, obviously, that's not the case for every single marriage out there. Some marriages end in divorce. Some spouses are abusal, and that's terrible. But from my experience, I would wish that upon everybody else. Not that divorce. No, I don't wish divorce and spousal abuse on everybody, but I wish them the best in their marriage. So that'd be one reason. And the other one, I touched on this just a little bit earlier, is that it changes you. I am a better person after I got married. I'm more responsible, I'm more mature, I'm more intelligent. I have to do more research after I'm married for things. I have to be more focused. I have to stop staying on my phone and watching stupid videos all the time. I have to watch educational videos to get smarter. These are just some of the things that happen when you get married. It makes you take which I would say is one of the reasons why marriage makes you more conservative. That's my opinion on that. Agree to disagree there, but having said those reasons, now I kind of want to talk a little bit about when it is best for somebody to remain single. So here's one. You have no desire to be married. If you don't want to be married, then we shouldn't even be discussing this. You've got, marriage is a commitment, and a very difficult commitment to make. If you don't want to do that, we should not be encouraging that person to get married. They should stay single. Now, if you are staying single so that you can waste your life away playing video games, maybe you need somebody in your life to give you a little bit of tough love and say, look, even if you're not married, you still have a duty to not be a leech on society, a parasite who sucks off, government welfare so that you can go play video games and eat your donuts and brownies. You got to actually get up and do something with your life. And that is exactly what you should be doing if you're single. You should be, that's why sometimes Christians refer to this as the gift of singleness. I hate that term. I much prefer to use the gift of celibacy, because celibacy is a word that specifically means you're intentionally being single so that you can take the time that you otherwise would have used to provide for a family to actually use it to do something important. For monks or hermits or priests or whatever, they obviously have a lot more responsibilities that they have to do that marriage could potentially I've been watching, I think it's Father Mike Schmidt or no Father Davis, I think, one of these priests who does like day in the life TikToks or YouTube shorts or whatever, and he'll kind of go over his daily life, and it's kind of, I'm coming at this from the perspective of a Baptist, so all the pastors that I know are married. And this is coming from a single person who does it. So he's going through all these things that he does. He goes to church and he does this, confessions and all this. And I'm sitting there waiting for him to say, and then I go home to my family. But, he doesn't. For him, his family is his church. So having that gift of celibacy there, and I don't want to get into the debate over whether that should be mandatory or not. That's a conversation for another time. But having that gift of celibacy there does, help in being able to do things like that. So to kind of recap, I would encourage everybody to get married. Marriage is not you don't just push a button and get married. You got to actually find somebody. That's difficult. Be understanding, be patient, because I'll tell you this, somebody who, as this happened to me, when you want to be married and you can't, that's a terrible feeling. It's very lonely. Makes you very melancholy, very depressed. It sucks. And so definitely comfort. If you know somebody who wants to find somebody and they haven't yet, definitely comfort them, give them some assurance. Tell them you love them. Try to hook them up with somebody that might make them feel better. And so specifically, this definitely happens to both sexes, but specifically it's definitely more of a male thing. For the conservative movement, for the right wing, stop trying to force everybody to get married and have babies and all this. Leave it up to the individual choice. There's a difference between telling somebody to do something and encouraging somebody to do something. There's a difference between telling somebody to do something and encouraging somebody to do something. Got it? Okay, good. Encourage people to get married. Tell them that they should. Tell them that it would benefit them. Tell them about I already did that in this video. I talked about the benefits of being married. I talked about how that would be helpful, how that would improve somebody's life. But don't tell people if they don't want to get married that they have to. And for the love of the Lord, do not tell people that they're selfish if they don't want to get married. Now, if you know them, if you're friends with them, and you know that they go home and they play video games all day and they waste their lives away, okay, yeah, then stop being lazy. Get out and do something with your life. Get out and do something with this gift of singleness, celibacy that you have. Don't just waste it away. Consider it a gift that you have for the time. And I do think that is something, if you are struggling in your singleness, considering it a gift. I remember I used to hate considering it a gift, but I do think that mentally that can help. And okay, I wouldn't be, because now that I'm married, I don't have time to read. I don't have time to do. I'm recording my videos in my car right now, for crying out loud. I mean, I'm about to go to the gym. I got to crush this workout in, and then I'm probably going to record another video after that, because that's the only time I have to friggin' record these videos. I can't record them at home. I got 3 kids. I got a 1-month-old and 3 children. I can't record my videos. I don't have time to do anything. I barely have time to work. That's pretty much my life right now. And so if I was single, none of that would be the case, and I could have time to, and I definitely wouldn't have it that way. I would never go back to being single. Please, Lord, do not allow my family to be killed in a car crash. That would make me so depressed. So, to all the single men out there, single women, Godspeed, hang in there. I'm praying for you. To all the married people out there, I remember somebody said this, I can't remember who, being married nowadays is kind of like, feels kind of like you caught the last chopper out of Nam or something like that. Be grateful that you're married, even if you're struggling in your marriage, even if you do. It is a lot better than being single. And I don't say that to like make the single people more depressed. I'm just saying that as an encouragement to the married people. Be grateful in your marriage. Go home after this video, talk to your wives, tell them you love them. Tell them Casey said, I told you that I love you. And if you're single, I encourage you to continue your pursuit. When you get shot down, get up and go try again. Go catch another fish. Go out there. Maybe you shouldn't think of women as fish, but I mean, you get the point. Get up, get some self-confidence. Know that your value and worth is not in what other people say to you. Your value and worth is determined by your Creator. And He died for you. And He loves you. So, and so do I. So, king, queen, whoever you are, get up and go pursue. Don't let the rejects, and if they reject you, well, they lost. They lost out on that. So I say this to encourage all my single people, all my married people. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Q Talks. I think I'm pretty much done. I think I've said everything I want to say. Time to go crush this workout. What should the outro be? Let me know in the comment section what my outro should be. I need to consider that while I'm considering what I'm going to do for the next episode. All right. Have a good night. Blessings from the Stafford family. Love y'all.